Well, this is regarding the convictions of everyone on a mass scale. For example, regarding fake news that they have statutes they say they can do criminally if they're told that by their supervisor, whoever you want to call it. But they use that as a crime method to pretend they don't realize that they're doing that criminally, like stealing people to fake words. WFSB, which is an affiliate of CVS, Fox Connecticut News, WTNH. Now, their motivations for this are also recorded because they have racketeering uses of the identity, the ground, and locations, and as crime acts rolls with evidence racketeering methods, whole recorded methods of not just acts, with formal treatments of evidences and values, especially our own humanity. See, now they're involved with racketeering that is with the executive branch and with the executive branch and the judicial branch individually and grouped already criminally foreign influenced. In other words, individually crime methods, every individual member, difference, group, and all together as each identity, the grounds, location, like state police, Weathersfield Police, the FBI, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin's lawyer's office. And this is in relationship to racketeering methods using values and words slash values. Also tied to Harriet Beecher Stowe House, Mark Twain House, for example, because this is also regarding predicate value and predicate act value, where and how they're in discernment of how the sciences share an identity simultaneously. And how that has not been realized is recorded tied to worse than obfuscations of the identity the sciences share, and per a method that also maintains self-valued roles with it, which is a whole bunch of natures of identity theft, fraud, racketeering, bonded to maintain, kept, and originally and still everyone's speaking through others, and that used criminally. We have what is actually written as the law prevented per fact treatment nature racketeering that keeps those identity the ground locations like various natures of courts, various natures the same natures of courts, intercities, on and off the state judicial branch offices, on and off the state prison offices. The stewards of each thing maintained in collusion. They use crime methods pretending their titles are valued that they aren't, pretending their experience means experience real. In other words, about the answer that is attached to all questions, the answer slash S, as one identity of relationship that of one identity value progression that has a relationship to all others, individually grouped and together. Science reveals this, but we're not free speech. We have identity theft racketeering, sequence racketeering. So then we have courts that have people go before them, and they're attaching people to fake words, fake behavior. They're forging names and switching names. They're making confessions tied to their crimes with various natures of police forms. Former director of the FBI down, Weathersfield police chief, the one that was there years before him, involved all kinds of racketeering, all their FBI, state police, their family members with houses in my area, and all through my houses on my street, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with vertical and horizontal database racketeering that involves all natures of colleges, universities, medical campuses, fire campuses, town offices. Now, see, these are other motivations, natures, needs, roles for election crimes that have nothing to do with elections. Now, see, these are uses of Trinity College and all the people, both parties, recorded, confessed, leading up to and in the Trade Center attack context, criminally involved with the Justice Department, the Pentagon. There are people at Trinity Colleges associated with the Joshua Stryker and with the Charlie Bowes, who used to be. I never had a conversation. His family member, he has a woman who says she's a daughter of his, who's involved with a whole bunch of agencies through time associated with the Old Town Cafe and on Main Street in Old Weathersfield. Now there's a house in the corner of Main Street and Church Street in Old Weathersfield with the acting department, with the English department, with a whole bunch of people associated with them, with racketeering, with people associated on and off the state judicial branch offices. Weathersfield Feet Pizza around the corner of it, houses next to it. These are all people racketeering with on and off the state prison offices. And with databases, they're also with whole groups involved with sequence shifting and where they have like interbranch drug cliques, and they're involved with all kinds of investigations um, about things real, made up, whatever. And they're attaching lies to everything true, and they're attaching lies, even when they don't have to, because they have to for reasons everyone's missed, all juxtaposed to other motivations like money. So this David Parkman's a bad guy, and he's pretending not to realize because he's a victim. So in other words, nothing personal against David Parkman, but he's with convictions that you can't defend and explain what and afford to defend yourself against about what the Constitution unabridged means. So then you need to pretend, then you have to pretend, I know what amendment is what. It doesn't matter if you remember what amendment is what, if you even studied it. Free speech. Marbury versus Madison. Don't make up fake sequences. See, now they're preventing mandated law. They are recorded with the crime method, for example, pretend on a mass scale of pretending mandated law means to tell someone next to you. See, these are criminal uses of the identity of ground locations like Trinity College. And like the debates, word debate, the word argument, all kinds of racketeering with psychology, a whole bunch of they're involved with a crime method that stacks people's names and families needing to hide the same finite, active, progressive sequence shifts, identity theft, frauds, identity racketeering, and worse against everyone. A whole bunch of ways. Like, for example, this David Parkman Show, pretending that to believe things about money and power, and about what that means in the world. In other words, these people are involved with. In other words, that means nothing. That's not. In other words, but they want to have a debate about what's free speech. It shows, in other words, what's not debatable is that and how Bayer is involved with racketeering with people with the people that investigate that too. Now they're victims, but they're victim predators. They are misprisioning identity, speaking other than they're doing, and that's why they're self-valued for that. So now we have them being used to prevent mandated law on a mass scale, because we have how the Wethersfield Police Department is maintained criminally foreign influence per people associated with them in New Britain Superior Court. They were involved with racketeering with overt criminal enterprises through time. And this is also recorded. Facebook is also lying about evidences with them. Former director of the FBI down, Robert Luskin. People on off Trinity College with uses of both parties. People associated with Gayle King and Oprah Winfrey and those media departments. And Oprah Winfrey's a great woman. Oprah Winfrey's I'm not nothing but black, but everyone's opinions. It's all right. People want to have opinions of theater. Oh, that's just the theater, and that we just ask the experts on that. See, we have types of experts. Recorded former director of the FBI down, former standing chairperson on Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act. We also have him involved with a whole bunch of people as federal criminal code defendants, Hartford police chiefs, retired and standing, recorded and standing. Hartford police chief. I don't know. I never had a conversation with him. Tried to contact him on Facebook. Is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Also involved with fire chiefs and fire departments with houses next to them. All victims then want to defend their identities. All right, make him put something on writing. In other words, if you call up the police to have counters to their roles with child abuses because the methods they're using. They're spreading lies through kids with overt criminal enterprises through time. They're explaining in Wethersfield, Connecticut, how the interbranch family members and prison cliques tied to them and other nations are in collusion, private and overt criminal enterprises with evidence racketeering, with identity thefts, abuses of each age of fact-cheating nature, simultaneously, sickly, and non-distinctly. There are recorded a whole bunch of methods and natures of child abuses, intercampuses connected through time, ages of campuses, and this is recorded connections between houses next to the campuses, and fire department houses and fire department next to Trinity College, are involved with racketeering with people, houses, and apartments and stuff next to CCSU, and etc. This is a racketeering method that is long well perfected with things manifest that are maintained self-value as means that kept and keep originally and still states and areas in all database relationships private and other all campus relationships criminally foreign influence. It's all right if people want to make opinions on things like bullying and stuff, for example. They have opinions about what is debatable, used to prevent all that is actually recorded, which is they have a crime methods, roles, interbranch, individually together and grouped, and private with them, and a whole bunch of nations sharing these crime methods as styles of liars pretending other, because they were raised per this organized crime method associated with the identity the science to share. So I'm here not asking to report debatable things. These are people forging names and switching names. Like, we need to have experts evaluate people sometimes if there are problems where people don't have difference with each other, but they have to argue because of everyone forced to speak through others and not being used criminally. And per the roles with the identity thefts with that. We have a whole bunch of Wethersfield police retired and standing, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with a whole bunch of houses and along routes and off them that are using that because they're already stuck in the background, so they're preventing me free speech. They're forging names and switching names, each branch individually grouped and together. They already use databases for racketeering. They already used Tucker Carlson they're using Tucker Carlson sensibilities now criminally because Bayer is involved with a whole bunch of natures of racketeering acts and methods. I don't know what drugs they make, but they're also involved with the racketeering. A whole bunch of natures of racketeering again, bonded. Because then what's that bond? A whole bunch of liars. People need to hide the same finite sequence shifts, finite to order lies, actives order lies, progressions value lies, and identity racketeering lies, torture lies. Pretend to be for the Constitution, they're not. Pretend to be integrity, they never were. Pretend to be about the identity of logic when they are not. They were involved with racketeering. They have no right to wealth. Doesn't mean they have the right to racketeering. That's what David Parkman is saying, and he's pretending because his behavior is good per them. That you have to understand what criminal seriousness nature is. David Parkman, you must repent, and it's all right. You have opinions, for God. Your opinions about wealth and poverty are associated with, fake. You need people are associated with kept and keeps a whole bunch of roles and natures and needs to hide the same lies, and that juxtaposed valuing real motivations to be evil as motives to pretend not to realize things. We have a quality of fact cheapening nature with courts like this playing stupid, so they're preventing mandated law. We have various natures of courts and people on and off the state judicial branch offices that are recorded criminally pretending they don't understand that the mandated law applies to them too first. And they are already recorded with all kinds of racketeering in cases, all kind of racketeering methods. These are with prosecutors too. These are with state's attorneys. They're also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering acts and cases with people associated with the DACA program. And that's also with them recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with people retired and standing with Wethersfield Police Department with overt criminal enterprises and with private ones that are involved with them with whale crimes, wire crimes, identity theft, sequence shifts, criminal uses of exception natures, not of exceptions, criminal uses of time with that. They're getting over on forever nature always, too fast, too slow. So they're recorded using the motive. They're using the identities of online platforms misprision, individually grouped and all together taking advice from people associated with former director of the FBI, Don Robert Luskin, who are involved with racketeering against elderly homes, right through them. As the people are further involved with a whole bunch of methods and natures of child abuses, even further sexual recorded, uses of Facebook to force that, and uses of the Facebook page of New Britain Superior Court. There are also criminal uses of motives, pretending motive means what it doesn't, because these are also people racketeering acts and cases that forced a principal sex offender. They use those cases to stick illusions into databases and to act them because they need to imply things per their motivations and natures of crime, which is completely fact treatment nature oriented. They're pretending to perceive. They recorded themselves pretending to perceive things with areas. Criminal uses of a whole bunch of natures of houses in my area with judges retired and standing, and with state police retired, and overt criminal enterprises and private ones, even the witness protection program. Now, these are also doctors, a whole bunch of people with Hartford Hospital recorded confessed with my new and past neighbors involved racketeering with the Dillon family and with forging names and switching names, mail crimes with judges, and with child sex offender principals campus then and now further. Also with the extended family members of one of the house/session in the area further involved with them through time. Racketeering with proven child sex offenders further involved then and now with the principal sex offenders. See, they use their own kids for the racketeering I'm talking about, which is other natures of child abuses also. Now, say they're pretending that everything is about that those people involved with those sex acts proving, and the ones they're still trying to hide. They're pretending they're just trying to have a right to defense, but they're preventing mandated law. In other words, they're doing more than that. They're a whole bunch of natures, other natures of crimes. They're also stacking natures of crimes in people. I have elderly people, intercities, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how they get persuaded to pretend the passions and emotions, to pretend moral justifications of their logic dishonestly, like this Dave Parkman, like Bayer. Now, see, Bayer is also involved with CBS and through WFSB and through WTNH and through Fox Connecticut News. They're involved racketeering acts with New Haven FBI, with the Wethersfield Police, recorded, confessed that they have people associated with DACA, and they make confessions about that while they're stealing my identity on YouTube and Facebook, for example, because they're tied to clicks with the Trade Center, where our counters to sick things, we're already in collusion with them. This is for other motivations, nature's needs of crime that kept and keep worse than negotiated with terrorism originally and still. Now, these are also Russian families with downtown Hartford, Fox Connecticut News, a whole bunch of people with two Mendez police and two Domain brothers and their family members and people associated with them who recorded, confessed, and demonstrated fake ties to me, fake conversations with me. There's an Allison Mulcahy and her sister and mother and family. I don't know them. They're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated through time involved also with their neighbors and people, around them on that street, two route highway. They're right around the corner from me. And two route and Hangdog Lane. They're right around the corner from Hangdog Lane. They were. I don't know. In other words, I don't know those people. John Maiano also made confessions about them and his family and his brothers involved with this. Now, these are also their racketeering roles with state police and with FBI and a whole bunch of people with deans and where Tunxus College is involved with this. Racketeering with medical racketeering. Now, these are also racketeering roles where they have the patients and the criminals of these doctors and of these deans and fire departments, when they need to hide live progressions, they have them go in to act illusions so they can pretend things. They pretend me to fake conversations. They make people make statements. You have no reaction. They're going to pretend you had a reaction. Now, this is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated because these people already had their roles with like a Pierce family. I don't know who the Pierce woman is. If it's the one near Highcrest Street, there's a Pierce family recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by people with racketeering acts roles, by people with New Britain Superior Court with them. and with Hartford courts with them, various natures of courts with them. These are people racketeering leading up to the Trade Center attack with a street crime of line of crime acts roles with military police too, criminal uses of their identity, criminal uses of what is debatable in the minds of our stewards, in the minds of everyone private, because they're preventing mandated law. You're not supposed to be make people beg to have and they're pretending, oh, it's just that's what the statutes tell us, how we do evidence. No, because they're faking recorded things in databases with child sex offenders. A whole bunch of Wethersfield police involved with the Fox Connecticut News from this town. These are the people with the Sandy Hook crimes. These are Sandy Hook Newtown. Online platforms are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, speaking to us misprision. They know they are. They know they have to, and they know that's being criminally used. They're pretending all kind of behavior racketeering, all kind of nonsense, not science. They're pretending all kind of passions, emotions, and their physical delusions with aggression and fake care simultaneously, misprision speaking, preventing free speech. If you call the police, they'll lie about what is actually recorded. If you go down there, they'll lie about what is actually recorded by recording equipment. Just put the police name and put you in a quote. These are with people that you never had conversation with. This is a problem. This is private also with the interbranch, individually grouped and together. Individually means each individual group together with the Field Police Department, but also means their recorded roles with and crime roles with other natures of police forms and are like foreign and domestic with locations on and off the Wethersfield Police Department where it is now and where it used to be, involved with people with racketeering acts leading up to the Trade Center attack in it, and then further with racketeering acts and roles that valued that the whole time because they're needing to pretend to perceive things that are in databases they know that are criminally foreign influenced. So we have people that are oh, this is what the ad companies want. So you guys are wrong because you got to see the ad companies that they want to just follow mandated law. If the ad companies want to have that, if want to take a position like that, Bayer that simultaneously is involved with preventing free speech. They have people that use Bayer aspirin. I don't know what other drugs they use, but administering Bayer aspirin, who are also racketeering with overt criminal enterprises drugs and with private ones, interbranch drug clicks. Also interbranch racketeering with evidences clicks. Now I'm not talking about, so I don't have time to talk about debatable. And you guys want to pretend that what is debatable, what is not, like the sequence shifts. These are also racketeering acts, roles, and uses of the Ninth Circuit, which is uses of a panel of judges, uses of their fact treatment nature, as further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated people from Connecticut intercampuses and interbranch, even fire campuses that and families that were victims and people associated with the Trade Center before, while being the attack, and since involved criminally, even with the investigators, further Trade Center predicate act rules. That's why they have a person. It's a crime. It's going to punish this country to have these people like associated with Joe DeMauro, Wethersfield Police Department associated with Russians with them criminally, with identity thefts, attaching with judges attaching people to fake locations, and people. He's one of the people associated, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a whole bunch of cousins and that I don't even know, and that pretended to know me through time criminally. Now, though, that are further involved with the principal sex offenders campus uses of their own, including prosecutors. Now, you have to understand how prosecutors are pretending they have integrity they never had originally. Still, Gowdy, please respond for WFSB also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering with a gal with the former director of the FBI criminally involved with him leading up to and in a 2006 case. A whole bunch of people with the Britain Superior Court and with CCSU recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Also, people with houses next to it were confirmed, confessed, and recorded and demonstrated racketeering acts roles with evidences where they're influenced to pretend to pretend things So, like sequence in relationship to sequence shift. See, once you do a sequence shift, you need to pretend it was for motivations, passions. Then they other. They're faking passions and emotions criminally, which they have New Britain police, state police, FBI, CIA, and their family members, and fire departments, and a whole bunch of other nations like Puerto Rico. Recorded confessed also with CCSU, criminally involved with Farmington Avenue. Now, these are people also crimes with various natures of drugs like cocaine, heroin, and also criminal uses of the counters of that, people with Narcan, those undercover people, training of them, people associated with the Dakota and Rocky Hill, people associated with each of the departments at CCSU. And so they make you speak about other people because they already locked everyone to speaking about everyone behind the scenes criminally. There's a whole bunch of people from my town that I never had a conversation with at CCSU, and I don't know them. And any exceptions that are just the ones that they filmed, knowing that they use that they have this crime method where they vertically and horizontally stack database illusions, sequence shifts. A whole bunch of people associated with former Mayor Gold recorded, confessed, and demonstrated he's involved with identity thefts, attaching me to fake conversations with him. And if he ever did, I never had one conversation with his daughter. Also used the crime method twice of attaching me, of approaching me with anger and out of nowhere, right in timed, and associated with racketeering. That's also involved with a whole bunch of people at CCSU with a Pruzzi family, with a whole bunch of people from my town Interbranch. Or in other words, they have a headache now. Now, there are also crimes with a whole bunch of other nations. So they maintain states and areas self-valuing roles with that way. In other words, they have no integrity. They can't follow the news now, which actually recorded true. Therefore, they need to force debatable as sequence racketeering roles, preventing free speech, pretend that it's a debatable. Bayer is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with free speech thefts. Like, in other words, also with other ad companies like Connecticut Lighting. I don't know if that's the right one, but WFSB recorded, confessed, and demonstrated there's a Fianza family involved with them. And they also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated what I tried to report leading up to and in the Trade Center attack context, leading up to and in a 2006 case. And since they've been stealing my identity. These are people with the Trade Center that are racketeering acts, roles, and uses, also with the investigators, also with military families stealing the identities of people they never had conversations with were from their same town. Also, it's involved with how they have sexual circles, and then they affect the girls who are being shared by a whole bunch of different guys at once to make confessions about that. And now those are a whole bunch of men and women associated with the FBI, with racketeering, with wire crime methods recorded, mail crime methods recorded, roles. It's still a crime if you use a little trick fact checking nature racket methods to pretend not to realize it, to figure out how to get away with it, and just ignore everyone, and that you can exploit that. How you can just ignore everyone through time. So now you don't even know. So there are also all kinds of natures of extortion of each nature of market's position. So they have people like David Parkman, overt predator, pretending to believe that he doesn't understand. Either that he's that stupid and that delusions rot, that he doesn't understand, that his convictions about what poverty is, about what money means, that's not about free speech. Free speech is about allowing mandated law. See, just because a journalist has a license doesn't mean if he's a liar, especially in sequence. These have people, these have people pretending other people are liars who know that they can't pretend they even know them. And the only exception is something someone filmed them walking up. They can't talk about it though, because if they talk about it, then it shows that in the background they've been just fighting about things, all these nations, and their resolutions were okay. Well, this is true, so that's that. But none of that was true. So now they have a headache there and there, there and here. So at the same time, they're valuing war, right where we have the only place to counter it real. At the same time, they're valuing terrorism, right at the same place. Rolls through identities. We have vertical and horizontal database racketeering that is involved with the shootings, with the schools pattern, with the names involved with that. There are further people involved with the Lanza family, all along the route that goes by the state of Connecticut judicial branch offices. A whole bunch of people associated with Weathersfield Pizza with racketeering acts for them. Enrolls with WFSB, Fox Connecticut News. People racketeering roles leading up to and in the Trade Center attack context, leading up to and in the 2006 district court case. There was there's a woman, a girl who has like a six pack. It looks like Maria Vazina. I don't know, but in other words, it was implied. With these are people involved with racketeering, also with the uses of parks and drug crime rules with the Dillon family and with their neighbors there. And these are police forms involved with racketeering with military, foreign, and domestic too, involved with the deans criminally used. Because they have the identities of each ground, identity of each campus, identity of each department of each science used criminally. They have to pretend to be against things they're for because they're defending styles of liars in relationship to nature's actual identity of value progression. It's all right if anyone wants to debate this, but the truth is actually recorded on Facebook. See, they need to pretend to be about behavior because they know they're involved with sequence racketeering. They know that if they, in other words, then now we're having a debate about what is debatable. And the sequence racket, they have all kinds of federal crimes. There are verbal federal crimes. There are people within the Britain Superior Court's Facebook page, with the Facebook page of a principal sex offender, also a Joshua Julian, and women interbranch involved, how they have physical delusions, criminally foreign influence natures of now everyone wants and longs needs positive naturally. To discern positive through negative as logic's actual course. See, we have a whole bunch of racketeering with psychology with a whole bunch of nations at once. So we have a Leahy family, a whole bunch of people like a Dr. Dingleberry, a Dr. Dewberry, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. Also racketeering with a whole bunch of people associated with the corner of the Samuel Dix house, which is along this route. Also with a whole bunch of people on and off Trinity College. With agencies, foreign and domestic police forms, like associated with pilots, as the ones criminally involved with the Trade Center leading up to it, and with the investigators since involved with predicate acts, fake conversations with me about the Trade Center attack, for example, fake conversations with me about agencies. Also, they spread illusions online so they can pretend to that's evidence. Oh, look, she said she was in a conversation with him and he was talking about the CIA. Now, there's a Leahy family that forged names, switched names, pretended they had conversations with me, with judges and with prosecutors through time of various natures of courts. One-way reports, but I never had conversations with my life. He's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated a whole bunch of doctors on, off, and associated with houses on Church Street in Old Weathersfield, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering with my name. These are also racketeering acts, roles, pretended perceive things, influencing people to act things so they can pretend to perceive things with CCSU, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated and criminal. I don't know his name. I think it's a CJ. And there's a Fred Grisette that recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that modern pastry and that the pastry shop near it, Mazzucato Pastries, involved with the principal, the Wethersfield police chief's daughter, and the Mazzucato family married, one of the brothers married to her, and his sister, and no, their parents are involved with racketeering, also with use roles with Facebook, with the method, for example, attaching lies to truths. You know what I'm saying? And these are also racketeering acts and roles with cases and with investigators, not just a Phil Clo, also a subbies galore is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by people with a DeMoro family and a Clo family further involved with racketeering with the child sex offenders of a whole bunch of different natures, criminally roles with cliques next to religious fire departments, their use of wire crime methods, also as roles with mail crimes, wire crimes with New Britain Superior Court, people on off the state judicial branch officers. So Bayer, follow mandated law and please respond. Who disbelieves? Have them pick one name and spelling of the name in sequence, please. Interbranch. They are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering uses of the online sensibilities of each branch of government, of each party individually grouped and together. These are further election racketeering roles with Russians while they were recorded pretending to be against what they knew they were for. Their motivations for it are other than elections racketeering, but it involves that. Now, these are also criminal uses of elderly, criminal care for people at the same time, because then you need to pretend simultaneously that you're against what you're for. We have some fake care natures. Oh, that's just what it's the simple thing. Yeah, follow mandated law. Then they have to lie and pretend, oh, well, he didn't ask right. He asked rude. That's not true. When you ask nice, they stack more crimes and more names against you of people you don't even know. And they can't, oh, we know you. They can't pretend that because then, oh, we know you from this. But then they're lying about the sequence. Then they have to lie about my behavior out of sequence too. Always we have sequence as a value used for a breaching racketeering method using human fact treatment data. David Parkman can't talk about the science that is necessary to counter what hurt every religion, sickly distinctly, to keep how sickly non-distinctly from free speech, to keep the uses of groups self-valued grouped, to keep no defenses of individuals from criminal uses of those groups, every single one of them. The crime method involves pretending to be against, oh, I'm against racism, isms, xenophobia. Sorry, then when it comes down to it, you're fake. You're just looking to get over because you're valued like Fox News, like CNN, as fake sides, as fake difference, as racketeering roles way worse than Trade Center predicate acts and racketeering. Now, who are those involved with this? And there's also a Conrad, I don't know, that Joe DeMoro recorded, confessed, and demonstrated is involved with other Russians too, with him. By other people, everyone speaking through other people. I don't know this Joe DeMoro. I mean, I know him, but barely. In other words, he used to hang with the kid in my grade in high school, and he came in when I was in fourth grade. And he used to hang with him in middle school. They used to hang with his cousins too. I don't even know his cousin Phil. I know what he looks like. I barely know him. I never had a class with him. He's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with two Mendez police crimes with child sex offenders. Other policing of the school involved with this. We have a whole bunch of people with doctors of psychology, foreign and domestic, who are involved racketeering. They're needed to hide lie progressions tied to their roles with their opinions about a whole bunch of people and a whole bunch of fact-cheating nature values they already have racketeering roles with, including Trade Center, including cases, including counters to criminal justice corruption recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering with the problem in the first place. Because they also took fake counters they grouped, because they use grouped identity criminally. It's all right, everyone. Oh, I'm a group I'm this group, I'm that. It's all right. You have opinions. I'm not trying to report opinion. I'm trying to report New Britain Superior Court is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They use their Facebook page for worse sex crime acts rules than the principal sex offender got caught anyway. Then and now, with more people involved with his campus and other campuses criminally. Now we have a whole bunch of people with the Pentagon, the criminal justice system, intercampuses, including fire and medical campuses, EMS, recorded further criminally involved with CCSU, with my name too. And I don't know these people. And when I say that, they want to play fact cheat me direct. And we have to discern the difference between pseudo semantics and semantics. We have to have and we have to assert a meaning to pseudo rhetoric. And so when we debate things like, someone wants to pretend things are debatable that are not, we could demonstrate, because people are pretending not to hear that people are trying to report sequence shifts and fake words attached to ourselves. That's what I'm trying. Then they pretend, oh, I don't understand. Well, you said so much. When I say a little, they ignore. If you call on the phone, they're going to lie about what's recorded. If you mail something, they lie about what's recorded. The various natures of courts and stewards of them of all levels, retired and standing, they're criminally foreign influenced. The delusions raw. See, now this is logic's actual course and how it can perceive and properly. See, but we have to have someone, we have everyone thinking, well, that has other people think for them. We have Mueller's name, word. We have words, in fact treatment nature. We have Mueller's name and Comey's name involved with interbranch uses of it that are involved, cultivated to racketeering roles and natures, actually recorded. Because they know also that I've been trying to report since before the Trade Center attack things that are in a straight line that show right through administrations too. They show how the uses of color formerly, right through the Obama administration, were criminal. There's no care for color. They're using it for fake. Oh, but we're just trying to get the votes of black voters. We have no science. Free speech. All we need is recorded. Let's go. Hartford, Connecticut, New York City. They never had free speech. And what pretends other offensively prevents quality education. Pretends not to realize by making fake aggression, fake righteous aggression, and fake care juxtaposed. Self-valued per misprision focused live aggressions from each nature of regarding each identity of ground hurt by it. Intercampuses of each age and nature and each nature of city, distinctly and non-distinctly, are used per a breaching racketeering method. The value of the grounds ties to our quality of fact treatment nature per education is being used as a racketeering method that not only the Native Americans blamed what it causes on other things other than themselves, and then self-valued that per. But we're still doing it. We still don't have freedom. We still have the sub rosa, active, sequential, progressive, and identity racketeering against us. It's already you want to have physical delusions about what money means and power. Then you want to still simultaneously pretend to be against it. Oh, but we just want to respect because we want to jump. Get off. CBS, fix the fake news, your fake conversations with me. You have recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering acts against my family and against other families. And now I'm not going to try to speak about this through them because you guys that's where your racketeering method that is recorded. You're forcing you. That's what I'm trying. That's the evidence. You're trying to obfuscate what I'm using as evidence, which is actually recorded. You're criminally forcing people to speak through others, and you're attaching me. You attach me to fake conversation with you. You attach me to fake relationships to fake locations. You attach me to fake relationships to people I never had a relationship to, like a Joshua Julian, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with a Kerr family, with a Jerry Miller, with a whole bunch of people in the Britain Superior Court, uses of their Facebook pages for crimes, worse sexual and medical crimes, and evidence crimes and database crimes than the principal sex offender was put away for with his campus. As ones further recorded, confessed, involved through time with racketeering on off the other campuses with the same one, with and as the same ones. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how facilitated to crime acts roles with other evidence reception and perception, racketeering acts, mail crimes, wire crimes, intercities connected. They're all building on the past with, well, that's, they know when they look in databases, those are criminally forward influenced. They know their racketeering roles with that, for example, with uses of, um, polling colleges, statistical representation. What is the course of logic actual? Not even a doctor. I'll delineate the delusions from their physical, from their criminally foreign influence, fact treatment natures and styles of lying, and of pretending to be about integrity when they are not, and where they are not. Vaccine is fine. See, where real science is integrity is where our nature is valuable, where it's prohibited free speech. That's evidence. WFSB is recorded not only involved with preventing free speech, but stealing people's identities to fake words and locations. They're also recorded confessed with interstates people involved with human trafficking, with judges attaching little girls and boys to fake locations, with prosecutors through time. They know that their databases are highly sick. Now get them to one name and spelling and sequence. Interbranch, Connecticut. Let's go. Fox, Connecticut News. Let's go. Give yourself up to Fox News or Fox News. Go down with them. Let's stop making things up too. I want the names of the people involved with the on off your building and Fox Connecticut News too. The building next to it also involved with the database racketeering, identity thefts. Also, other natures of abuses of women, criminal uses of people intercities, connected. Now, these are also a whole bunch of ways tied to people on off Two Rod Highway, on off Hangdog Lane. That I don't know that they're pretending other and had involved. There are a whole bunch of people tied to a Joe Aiello that are also recorded, confessed, involved with the racketeering acts at Trinity College and on off them with this DeMoro family, a Kerr family. I never saw these people on the campus of Trinity College. I know the Aiello family and those people. They're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering roles and uses of roles with Zion Street for their crimes with Los Solitos, with the Wethersfield Police, where they have wire crime, mail crime together, and people at the end of the Berlin Turnpike, leading up to it, like with the Mao family, with some with places where they're there, and at the end of it, recorded, confessed, and demonstrate involve identity racketeering. They make illusions that they can film in the past, so you can pretend to know me. I don't know this Fred Grisette, but through what is recorded vertical and horizontal database racketeering acts, criminal uses of Wethersfield campuses associated with him. I never even went to school with him. He lived right in front of my high school. He's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering with FBI and with judges and as the family members of judges associated with, and as per them a Della Fera family. These are also people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated roles with racketeering with WTNH, with Wethersfield High School, and various natures of drug crimes with the kids as their motivations and with themselves and with their interbranch sources that are also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated their roles with their racketeering acts with the principal sex offenders. Then they present good people, but these as good people that through time have been racketeering against each age of fact treatment nature. Irene O'Connor, I'm sure you're a good person. Follow mandated law. How you guys speak through other people is, and has been used criminally. Miss Gowdy, there's a Gow, and the name Gowdy associated with interbranch racketeering, criminal uses of the congressional building in Hartford, no Park Street, how sick standards. Now we'll see how what is unacceptable in New York City We'll examine how the North was still involved with slavery before the Civil War and since. And we'll examine fact-cheating nature racketeering, sequence racketeering. So we have to deal with real evidence that is not exploiting exceptions in exception nature. We'll examine all the ways that all in how many cases in evidence racketeering, how many times courts prosecute, they were raised like overt criminal enterprises, high victim predators, and they are in collusion with them. Now, these are also criminal rules and crime uses of the witness protection program stewards and identity of the ground relationships. As the houses in my area with my new and past neighbors recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering uses of their and roles with judges and police forms associated with real estate companies criminally, and on-off CCSU with them criminally, intercities through time, sequence racketeering. These are people involved with the Dillon family racketeering. Let's go. Shouldn't have to beg to report extortion since before the Trade Center attack. You guys just tell me to ignore things. Then you say, "Oh, why didn't you report it?" I reported this in a straight line since before the Trade Center attack. Now, there were a whole bunch of military, foreign and domestic, and police forms further involved with the policing intercities tied to this. And what are they doing? Confessing their roles with DACA racketeering, the Wethersfield Police, with their fake YouTube pages and Facebook pages pretending to be me too. That's involved with these judges, involved with these YouTube and Facebook with the child sex offenders, and they're forging and switching names. Your Honor, of Fox News, one of them. Let's get a response. Let's get one name. Let's get your judges onto one name in sequence with the Britain Superior Court with the child sex offenders, rape threats, fake evidences through time. I just remind. Let's go. Because these are people who recorded and confessed since before they did that formally. They were from outside the court already involved with the racketeering, too. All kinds of sequence shifts. Those are evidences. You guys are lying about evidences actually recorded on Facebook, and you guys are pretending to be against a behavior. You guys are using the crime method of pretending to be against ad companies' sensibilities when you know those ad companies are recorded criminally foreign influence already involved with the sexual, medical, and other natures of identity theft crimes. A whole bunch of people with Connecticut Lighting Center recorded, confessed, to demonstrate also with the people on and off Fox Connecticut News and with the buildings downtown, also involved racketeering with mayors retired and standing, further involved criminally here, and with DACA, and with the names Vega, Asami Vega, and other people in the Vega family recorded, confessed, to demonstrate also involved with criminal justice racketeering. Racketeering rolls with a whole bunch of people with on and off the principal sex offenders campus and uses of foreign and domestic military police, also Confederate flag theme, also KKK theme, also criminal uses of that. Let's go. Well, this is not debatable because there's no way a KKK guy could be good or bad. I mean, in other words, they're in collusion with the KKK and with the fake sides. Other criminal enterprises needed to hide the same styles of lying with them. The fake identity. They're forcing identity to mean what it doesn't. They're forcing grouped opinion natures not to be demonstrated how maintained, used by breaching racketeering method using human fact-cheating nature. It's all right if you want to debate what I say. Now get the evidences. No, see, you don't present me the evidences. That's why I'm saying get the judges of New Britain Superior Court to pick one name in sequence. They are further involved with houses in my area, intercity with them, racketeering racks roles involved leading up to the Trade Center attack, in the Trade Center attack complex criminally, involved with leading up to a 2006 district court case, and in it criminally, and since criminally. There also were recorded, confessed, and demonstrated criminal uses of people's conversations through religious spots. That's involved with their roles, with their uses of like parks and stuff, uses of media clicks, everyone speaking through others criminally, preventing free speech and pretending to be for it. Follow mandated law and science. Also, the media is recorded, confessed with the crime method of pretending because they're licensed journalists, pretending because they have more resources that their news is better than what is actually better because it's recorded. They're trying to report their actually recorded racketeering acts and rules, uses of election spots, uses of Weathersfield parks, uses of Weathersfield schools criminally evolved further, uses of database tied clicks for racketeering uses of that. Their crime rules with untimely deaths that are tied with the new and past neighbors involved with the various natures of racketeering, also involving uses of Phil Colo and of Hanson family for real estate crimes, with people associated with a Park Street, Lena's Pizza, and on off a school near there, involved with drug racketeering, with them with the various natures of courts on and training of police forms on off CCSU, involved with a whole bunch of racketeering with other nations, foreign and domestic military, involved identity theft, sequence shifts. Don't make me start calling you names military too. Get me a response. Get the schedule and this Czech Casper and his sister and their family. I want to know her husband's name and her name. And I want, is he in the military? Because that was implied, because there's also a Mike Daly recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with him involved with racketeering with people with Old Saybrook that are further involved with the racketeering on off locations in downtown Hartford. And with Hartford Hospital recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they're involved with racketeering with them. Fake conversations with me through time. Fake, I never had fake, they're involved with narratives that attach me to fake locations because they need to hide lipoaggressions. They need to hide how they're keeping everyone criminally foreign influence. The same people with the child defenders are also drug clicks with a whole bunch of forensics locations and people involved with racketeering with the same overt criminal enterprises that they are racketeering roles and uses of the witness protection program and its direct and indirect recorded ties to the area and to the houses that there's and people associated with this detective Dylan, people associated with John Scully and very and the boxing gyms involved with these Justice Department racketeering, undercovering people like that, and in collusion with overt criminal enterprises. At the same time, fake sites, criminal uses of job sites, criminal uses of the transition from ACA to RICO with recorded the identity of the ground locations like the FBI, criminally foreign influence, live progressions from there. They're them kept needing to hide it. There's a girl who looked like she's related to one of the spotters involved. I don't know, and it's nothing personal. And see, they need to pretend passions and emotions because the only context I know them in were her confessions about her roles with the men who are now involved criminally with judges and with FBI, former director, and with federal criminals, and with him personally in his defendant capacities, and personally criminally with him with their criminal uses of depositions. Fake things pretended in depositions, fake things pretended on the side, conjunction with the Hartford courts and the Britain Superior Court also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated criminally involved with depositions and with people involved with those courts leading up to winning the 2006 case. That and leading up to the Trade Center attack. And uh, uh, they confessed that before I met him, and the Gill family confirmed it when I was a kid, and I didn't even know his name then. And then when I was adult, and he, student, and when he was adult, he's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with his family through time, involved with training of undercover and things like that, and like there different police forms associated on off private and other on off Trinity College, CCSU, other campuses involve racketeering with them. Now, these are also a bunch of sick, like doctors and stuff like that. Fire departments involve racketeering with them. A whole bunch of methods and natures of it. So let's get one name and sequence, and let's get some real news. And let's stop pretending that journalism pretending that because they have a journalism ID that they're not criminally foreign influenced, and that and their lies about other people of what other people say. WFSB is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated lying about what I say because of the actually recorded racketeering acts and roles and uses of Facebook again for election crimes too. Way worse though. So let's just stop making me beg and get a response. This is receive renaissance because this is worse than extortion in various natures of markets, and there's no way I can be compensated for this, and they know that, and that's why it's part of the racketeering method. These are worse than forsaken areas. These are the minority from my town recorded involved with what keeps a majority preventing free speech for the people of New Britain, the people of Hartford, Connecticut, for example, as the people from Wethersfield involved with them criminally, like a Leahy family, a whole bunch of people associated with a Sion Faglione family. I never had anything to do with him in high school. After he graduated high school, he confessed and demonstrated all this stuff. I didn't know what he was talking about. They use confessions because then they keep those contexts where, and they make them so no one can tell the truth from that context, but they need to speak about it later. That's what kept a Mike Demain, Adam Demain, two Mendez police recorded confessed crimes with police equipment, with child sex offenders, with New Britain, with Fox Connecticut News, with people met with medical doctors, foreign and domestic, associated with the Fox, with the G Fox building and locations next to them, houses on off Two Rod Highway associated with this Fianza family. Also racketeering on off uses of the state judicial branch officers recorded, confessed, to demonstrate involved with them. Interbranch police used criminally. Military police. Let's go. Make me beg. You guys are also using time criminally. That's evidences too. You guys are using Facebook, Wethersfield Police, New Britain Superior Court. They lie about what is actually recorded on Facebook and about how they confess that.